Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Janita, and I'll be your moderator for today. The theme that we will be discussing about is related to education. And to be specific, the topic that we would be discussing on is about teaching strategies for online learning. So today, together with me, there are three panels. Panel number one, which is Mr. Azim Akmal Hakim bin Zabri, a secondary
Hi.
student. Panel two, Ms. Nasharina Azwin binti Azman, an educator.
Hi.
And finally, an international student from China, Ms. Dong Ying.
Hello.
Okay, she will be our panel three for today. And just a reminder to everyone that this is a recorded session and it will be available, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, with the COVID-19 outbreak, learning has been overnight transforming our traditional classrooms into virtual ones within a blink. Without any heads up, we started to teach and learn everything via online. This has become an eye-opener to the educators that are now familiar with the technology, and also students who are used to face-to-face studies are now studying fully within a screen. So as I said earlier, for educators, they are new to distance learning. So it could be difficult to know what online teaching techniques work the best, or even where to begin with, especially when it comes to modern technology that requires gadgets. So questions like, does full-time distance learning suit a student's personal lifestyle? And also, how does the educators deliberate ways to influence online learning processes, and what are the outcomes? So with that, I would officially start asking the questions that many of you are curious about. So my first question goes to our panel one. Panel one, as a secondary student, what do you think is online learning?
Thank you, Miss Janita. Online learning is an education that takes place over the internet. It can be referred as e-learning among the other terms. However, online learning is one of distance learning. Online learning requires both teacher and student to have internet connection. And there are three types of online learning. The first one is live meeting, which is student and lecturer and the teacher are connected using Google Meet, Zoom, WebEx, or any online meeting apps. The second type is online exercise, which the teacher provide the exercise using Google Classroom or any suitable website. And lastly is the pre-recorded class. Pre-recorded class is teacher needs to share their recorded class on YouTube or Google Drive. This is good for students because they can watch it anytime and they also can rewatch the video. Thank you.
Thank you, panel one. As a secondary student, I'm sure that you have a lot of experience. That is why you are able to explain in detail what is online learning. Now, my second question goes to panel two. As an educator, do you think teaching strategies should be used for online learning?
Okay, thank you, our moderator, Janita. I think learning strategies should be used in online learning. Every student has a different learning journey and a different learning style. Some students are visual learners, while some students prefer to learn through a video, and some of them likes to learn in conceptual learning. Similarly, some students thrive in the classroom and other students are solo learners who get distracted by large groups. Okay, so there are a lot of learning strategies that can be used in online learning, such as time management. Time management is very important in students' lives. especially in managing assignment given by lecturer. As students, they must meet a daily schedule by dividing their study time, completing assignments and other activity. Okay, this is to ensure that these students can submit assignment on time and reduce stress symptoms among students. Perhaps some of the students were of the opinion that the daily schedule did not give any good effect, even if the result was the same. This is because most students are not obedient and disciplined in following the daily schedule that has been set by themselves. So students should be able to manage time well so that the use of time can balance between learning activities and other activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nasharina, and also thank you for pointing out on the time management, as we know students tend to procrastinate. Ms. Dong Ying, I would like to ask you a question. As an international student, do you think international students are comfortable using online learning?
Yes, I think international students are comfortable using online learning because they can stay in their hometown with their parents and eat food that they want to eat. This is very comfortable experience. And moreover, it's very convenient to use online classes just in the fluency wax. When the network conditions are good, you can directly enter the classroom to talk to the daughter, and therefore international students can use online learning to both learn and play in our hometown, and so they feel comfortable using online learning. And in my opinion, like me, I think this is a very nice method, and I very enjoy this comfortable online learning. Thank you, Jenta.
Thank you, Ms. Dongi, and also thank you for sharing your experience as an international student. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the explanation that has been given by three of our panels, we all know that for online learning, that there are pros and also cons in online learning. So, with that being said, I would like to ask panel two, our educator, would you like to elaborate on the pros or would you like to elaborate on the cons for online learning?
Okay, for me, I think online learning have a lot of cons rather than pro. Students usually often facing is internet problem. Not all students have good internet access in their home, especially in village and rural areas. Usually, many lecturers or teachers use Google Classroom or Google Meet application to allow direct interaction with students in their teaching. Students who have problem accessing the internet will have problem, especially when they want to enter the classroom, making presentation and cause them to less clearly listen to what is taught by lecturer. Okay, this is because not all students have Wi-Fi or tablet at home, especially from low-income families. This internet access not only happens to students, but there are also lecturer or teacher who live in rural areas who face the problem of teaching in cyberspace due to the poor internet access. Okay, therefore, we as students should be wise to find an easily accessible internet area so that you do not miss anything about the assignment and learning given by the lecturers at the university. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nasharina. Ms. Dongi, would you like to elaborate on the pro or on the cons?
Uh, actually, I think this can develop our physically and mentally, because because they can directly see the time of their assignment, and they can know their plans, and they can communicate directly with the daughter in the online, and they can enjoy happiness and stably physical while spending time with their family in their hometown. and in the process of earliest doing assignment enrich their own mentally. Therefore, online teaching can support students' body and mind, and I can agree this. I think this content is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dongying. So, panel 2 has explained on the con, which is about the internet, and Ms. Dongying has explained on a pro. So, Mr. Azim, would you like to elaborate on the pro or on the con?
I will elaborate on the cons. The cons is student not feeling excited when it comes to online learning. The thing is, this is because they can have different and interesting study if it is in physical. They what the student like the most is they can ask or discuss with their friends about the assignment given. In traditional learning way, which is all the student and teachers stay in the class, they can communicate more, and this will improve the student communication skill, study skills, mm, and many other soft skills which can help them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azim. So we have just heard the explanation about the pros and on the cons. So related to that comes another question that majority of the citizen ask: are students mentally and physically stable? Related to Ms. Dongying's answer just now. So Mr. Azim, as a secondary student, are you physically and mentally stable?
I, as a secondary school student, I represent all the students that we actually have the mental health and physical health problem. Only a few of us have the physical health problem, which is the obesity, and many of us encounter the uh, mental health problem. Online learning has taken away our face-to-face learning between fellow students and teacher. Uh, the for some students, the lack of social interaction can lead uh, to feeling of isolation, while the social distancing is an effective way to slow the spread of COVID-19. It leads to another problem, which is a mental health problem, including anxiety and depression. At home, students have an obligation, and some of us have a little sister and brother, which disturb their learning process, and this also give the mental stress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azim. Ms. Nasarina, as an educator, do you think that your students are mentally and physically stable?
Okay, I think the stabilize of mentally and physical is based on the student itself. Sometimes a student can handle physical and mental of e-learning, and some students have a problem with it. The increased screen time of online learning and the lack of face-to-face interaction have affect many students' mental and physical health. In fact, increased screen time has been linked to anxiety, depression, and perceived attention problems. Thank you.
Thank you. So it looks like the point of view from a student and also from an educator is quite similar, because we all know that anxiety, depression, and also obesity is nowadays a big topic among us. So, which leads me to my last question. How does the educators educate through online? So, Ms. Dongying, as an international student, that you are being placed in a different country with your educator, how does your educator educates you and your fellow friends through online?
Um, we usually use teaching strategies like doctor give us assignment and form, and many times give us exercise for online or offline. And in this task, students will communicate with each other and communicate. Uh, and learn from each other. So this is a good way to learning online. And if there's no good teaching strategy to teach, then student may have not achieved a good result in the last study stage. Many times we use the many times we use the assignments and form in online study in online learning. So I think this is our use the method. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dong Ying. Mr. Azim, how does your school teachers educate you and your fellow friends through online?
My teacher educates by um, by paying attention to student involvement in the class. The, the teacher must not let any student to feel uneasy because it is hard for them to catch up later. If student have more time, if teacher have more time, uh, they should make some simple question to measure the student understanding. This is necessary because there are three level of student understanding. The first one is a student that understand what they have learned, and the second type is they know what they don't understand. This is good for them because they can ask teacher or study at home later. And lastly, which I think is very common among the secondary school students, and I believe this also happened to the university student, which is they don't know what they don't understand. This will lead to a big problem to the teacher, and teacher should make a simple quiz, and this will make teacher to notice any student that have the problem. The second one is teacher need to use suitable application. For example, by using Google Classroom, Google Meet, Webex, Zoom, and many other online apps. So by using this suitable application, it may simplify teacher and students' work, and this will also avoid problems such as poor internet connection and the problem of student cannot join the class.
Thank you, Mr. Azim. And finally, Ms. Nasharina, as an educator, how do you educate your students through online?
Okay, for me, teacher also can educate students through online learning using an interactive media. Interactive media normally refers to products and service on digital, computer-based system which respond to the user's actions by presenting content such as text, moving, animation, video, audio, and video games. Interactive media is made up of two words, interactive and media. Now the scope is becoming wider day by day with the dynamic nature of education. The use of interactive media in the field of education has given a fruitful result. If it is implemented and utilized in a proper and appropriate manner in the teaching learning process, Nowadays, it has found its place in almost all the schools and educational institutions because of its utility and effectiveness. By using the interactive media, the learning process will become more attractive. Results of learning can be utilized effectively, and students can understand a topic easily. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nasharina. So different opinions from different individuals. And there's a saying that goes, everyone's teaching style is a bit different, but successful educators all follow the same best practices in online learning. So with that, we have come to an end for today's webinar. So as a moderator myself, I would like to suggest that the Ministry of Education should help the individuals that are in needs, which is internet. As we all know, even Ms. Nasharina pointed out that students and also educators needs the internet. If there is no internet, there is no communication within peer-to-peer, and hopes on getting the work done would be most likely impossible. So I would like to thank to all three panels for attending today's webinar. It is such an honor to be here with them. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the webinar has come to an end. So I would like to open to the floor and to our audience to ask any questions. Okay, we give the audience for about 1 to 2 minutes if there is any question. Okay, so we have one question in the chat box. In your opinion, how can parents help the children and teacher to cope with online learning? So how can parents help the children and teacher to cope with online learning? Mr. Azim, as a secondary student, what is your opinion?
My opinion, parents should spend some money if necessary to give their children books and smartphone if they need, or they should give a better internet connection.
Thank you, Mr. Azim. Yes, internet and also money. Yes, that is the main thing. Ms. Dongi, what is your opinion?
I think parents need to accompany with the children, and because in online, many students may or every student staying home, and in this time, parents do a teacher's role, and they must to help the children how to play and how to make like if we do the handle, if we do the some task, we need to do like cut use the scissors or cut something. But in some stages, the student cannot use and can not to make safe to do it. In this process, my parents must do company and help children to do it. And in this progress, parents play a role for teachers teacher's role to help the children. So online learning, and I think this process or the online learning, because if we stay our home and we learn in use our web, students need to the parents to accompany, because sometimes students cannot control themselves. They will play another thing, or they will do other thing, and they not pay attention to the web learning content. So I think parents, if parents want to help children and teachers, they must to accompany with the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dong-Ying. So we have money, we have we have money, we have internet, and also, yes, we have time, which is parent needs to accompany their children during the online learning. So Ms. Nasharina, as an educator, what would you suggest to your student parents?
Okay, in my opinion, parents can set up a conducive environment at home, like internet, comfortable table, give motivation, always be there with children. Online learning is a bit difficult to children itself, so as parents, we need to manage and handle the children emotion very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nasharina. So, Madam Christina, you have 4 opinions from 3 of our panels, which is money, internet, keeping the children company, and also providing a conducive environment. And me as a moderator, I would like to add on that parents need to have the patience. Without patience, parents could not accompany their children, like what Ms. Dong-Ying said, and also provide a conducive environment, like what Ms. Nasharina said, and also be able to cope up with their activities on a daily basis. So yeah, I believe that our time has come up. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for joining today's webinar. Thank you again to our 3 of our panels, and I hope that we could meet each other very soon in the future. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead, and please stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right.